start the conversation in a moment.
Well, Ian Keitani, Bentura Kwamboka, Santeni Sana, our viewers can be assured of a highly engaging conversation. As you can see, the youth have turned out in their numbers, and it's not just youth, stakeholders, human rights activists, including some of the victims, direct and indirect victims of these state excesses during the protests that have been witnessed in the recent past. Stay tuned for that discussion, as you'll get to hear from the horse's mouth about some of the expectations, whether the protests have met the desirable outcomes, and what they make of the state of security ahead of the protest tomorrow. Stay tuned for that conversation starting in just but a few. But let's continue bringing you up to speed with the latest stories making headlines. Now, the government's compensation program for victims of human rights violations has sparked fresh controversy, with Amnesty International and victims groups accusing authorities of selectively excluding victims of abductions and enforced disappearances. The lobby group says the process is unjust and is calling for the full implementation of the task force report, insisting that every victim of state violence deserves equal treatment.
Victims and activists have sharply criticized Professor Makau Mutua over claims that victims of state violence have already begun receiving compensation. They argue that the process is selective, unjust, and excludes 35 cases of enforced disappearance documented in the first phase.
This task force has no mandate to change even a comma in that framework. They have absolutely no supervisory powers as to the job that the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights did. So their move to omit the victims of enforced disappearances is not only overreaching, but is ultra-vires.
The rights groups are demanding the immediate publication of the full list of beneficiaries, insisting families of victims must be involved throughout the process, and have given authorities 24 hours to release the names, warning that legal action remains an option.
Hakuna victim yeyote ameweza kureceive pesa wala compensation yoyote from the government. So hii ni PR, ni uongo. Na tuna demand within 24 hours. Kama tutapata ukweli na tuweze kuona listi zetu zimepawekwa kwa mitandao ama kwa maruninga, tuweze kuona majina zetu sisi victims wote, tutaridhika. Na tusipeona hii ni uongo na state inatumia uongo.
The criticism comes even as the panel of experts on compensation of victims of human rights violation announced the disbursement of 448.7 million shillings on the first phase of reparations. The package covers 115 families of those killed, victims of severe and moderate injuries, survivors of sexual violence and economic losses. As the country marks the second anniversary of the June 25th Gen Z protest, survivors and rights defenders are calling on Kenyans to turn out in large numbers to honor those killed and demand justice. They have raised alarm of alleged intimidation and possible infiltration by goons, urging citizens to document any incidents, calling on police officers to remain identifiable. They have also expressed concerns over the conduct of the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, claiming investigations into police killings and brutality are being frustrated by political interference. The groups argue that IPOA has failed victims and families and called for independent and credible investigation to ensure accountability and justice. And Musungu, KTN, Nairobi.
Now, chilling questions over